So hey guys, welcome to part 3 of this video. I have Josh and Seth here again, and now we're going to talk about our favorite films in 2007, or at least our favorite film of 2007 for this first part. My favorite film of that year was I Am Legend with Will Smith, and Josh, your favorite film of that year was Spider-Man 3, and Seth, your favorite film of that year was No Country for Old Men.
Mm-hmm.
Since No Country for Old Men won Best Picture, do you want to start with yours? Because that one won Best Picture.
Yes, it did, and for damn good reason. Original story, a lot of twists and turns, and the idea that the bad guy got away at the end. You think that he was going to get his in the end. Never happened. I mean, technically it did, but he walked off clean slate.
And I read the book also, and actually the book ends like that too.
I mean, there's just so many moments I can talk about the film, but where there wasn't any need for violence, but there was a lot of moments where there was no violence, or you can either say like, oh, he killed that guy, or he didn't kill that guy. But one of the best moments in the film that just had that level of intensity, that high level of intensity I'm talking about, it was in the gas station where he goes up to the clerk and say, hey, flips a coin, or he's talking about coins.
What's the most you ever lost?
Yeah.
In a coin?
Yeah. And then of course the guy's like, well,
Yeah, because the guy's like, what's this
call,
guy doing?
Well, anyways, he flips a coin and he's like, he's playing it cool. I was like, call it. Yeah. And he's like, well, I gotta know what we're calling it for.
Yeah, he's like, I need to know what I stay in the wind.
So I mean, there was just a lot of dramatic moments, a lot of. It was fun. It was intense. There was a lot of moments where you just didn't know what was going to happen next, and even I thought the heroine in that film, I thought he was going to be the hero. He was going to be the guy that stops the bad guy in his tracks, and that's not what happened.
Well, another thing I like about that movie too, and the Coens even said this in interviews. Basically, the film is about basically the experience of getting older. I mean, like when we get older, we're gonna, if you're really quick when you're younger, you'll still be quick, but you won't be as quick as you are when you're in your retirement years. Another thing too is like, like for example, like. Basically, even look at the title. It's called No Country for Old Men, signifying the fact that there really is no country where, the old guy is always going to come up on top and everything. Mm-hmm. And once you really think about it that way, the title makes perfect sense. And, I mean, basically kind of sums up almost everything in the movie.
And this was actually this was my first film that I was introduced, to the Coen brothers. Before then, I think...
Oh, really? You never saw a single Coen film before that one?
No, I don't believe I have. I know I've heard of Fargo, but I didn't know they directed it. And actually, I just recently saw that. But it was the idea that this is like the first film that I saw the Coen brothers direct. Mm-hmm. It was very, very interesting.
And Josh, why don't you say why you thought Spider-Man 3 was your favorite film in 2007?
Spider-Man 3 was really good. They had a lot of action. The duel between Spider-Man and Venom was awesome, so I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I thought, adding Venom in was very clever.
Mm-hmm.
I thought...
One complaint I'll have to say about that film is there wasn't enough Venom.
I mean, there's 3 villains in the movie. So
and that's another complaint I can say, too. Too many villains.
Yeah. Yeah, and the too many villains complaint does happen a lot. Mm-hmm. It's a very complex film, but at the same time, Spider-Man's a very complex comic. So in some ways, I couldn't really bash the film for, following the source material, because the source material is like that. I did think it did, because there is 3 villains, that means all 3 of them get very little screen time. Even Sandman, who probably appeared the most throughout the movie.
Well, yeah, because he kind of tied into the story.
Yeah.
The first one.
Well, another problem I had is
they totally made that one.
It's like, okay, so you're going to add a bunch of villains in, but you choose Sandman out of like all these other possible great Spider-Man
That's
villains.
Unfortunate because obviously if you think the most popular villains,
Well, another thing I didn't like about the film too is they completely had to change the origin in order for the movie to work. Yeah. And it's like they just they could have incorporated.
You know what they could have done? They just could have kept a simple story where maybe it wasn't necessarily
just had
Eddie Brown.
Maybe just had
well, I mean, it's kind of hard to say because or they can always just not have brought up the idea that yes, okay, Spider-Man already killed the hijacker. They didn't have to say Sandman was he was part of the the hijacker.
Because the movie's like, oh, he just so happened to be Uncle Ben's killer. It's like
whatever. He's like he was.
Okay, then my favorite film of 2007, you guys, was I Am Legend. One of Will Smith's best performance ever. And what's really great about that movie is a lot of the scenes where he's talking to himself or talking to a mannequin. Those are all improv. That's Will Smith communicating to himself in his head, imagining himself talking to someone else. I thought the apocalyptic vision was excellent. Francis Lawrence, who's known for using a lot of tan and brown effects in his cameras from films, that definitely showed up in this film very well. I hope his upcoming Hunger Games sequel does well with that effect. It's just a very well done film, very well written. Kind of like what my dad and I talked about after we saw the movie. It had a very accurate vision of what it would be like to truly be the last person on Earth. Like what it would be like if you and all these mutants were the only things alive and you had to deal with it for the rest of your life for as long as you lived. And I felt the film mastered that feeling. Do you guys have any thoughts on I Am Legend?
I agree.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, go ahead, Josh.
I Am Legend was a really good film, and the color difference in the cameras was really good. Plus all the creatures and stuff, it really made you feel like, okay, I'm the last person on Earth. I have all these things surrounding me.
Because like he even did simple things like going to the video store,
Right.
getting gas for his car.
Right.
I think like he walked around a grocery store just to see what's available for food.
Yep.
And
Yep.
it definitely had this feeling of basically this man trying to continue his life, but he's all by himself, and he knows his family's gone, and it's just I thought the film had a very realistic, humanistic feeling to it. And I really liked how Francis Lawrence accomplished that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any input on the film? Seth?
Yeah, actually, I just watched the film yesterday on FX, I believe it was. But yeah, I thought it was a good film. I don't think it was great. I could definitely kind of see where they took the post-apocalyptic setting. The idea that it wasn't necessarily post-apocalyptic because if you think of apocalypse,
I mean, there was.
I
basically, he was the only person left. So I guess in some ways it is.
Anyways, basically what I'm trying to get at is they kind of took the idea from, wasn't in the beginning they tell you a woman was continuing her research and that she was trying to go through like a medical breakthrough.
Well, that's how the mutation
started. Like cure cancer, or what was it?
That was how the mutation started.
Well, yeah, that's how it happened. And so, anyways, they ended up trying to go to Protocol X or like quarantine. And
then the quarantine wasn't quick enough, and everybody died from it.
Yeah, exactly, and it just quickly spread. But anyways, I think that almost kind of came from the zombie concept, almost in a way. But they just kind of made it a little bit different and try to,
And what they did was excellent.
I thought
what
they
did was great.
Yeah, great. Yeah.
Because I saw Omega Man in some of the earlier incarnations of the Richard Matheson novel, and to me, because in the earlier versions, I think he was vampires and stuff. And I don't know. I think this vision was a lot more like, oh my God, look at what's happened to all these people that did live through this and all that other kind of stuff. And for 2008, you guys, and we definitely want to talk about this here because this was a big year for superhero films. Because I had Iron Man, which is also one of my all-time favorite movies, and Seth and Josh had The Dark Knight as their favorite film for that year. Unfortunately, none of those films got nominated. I really wish they did for the Academy Awards for that year. Seth, why don't you start us off with The Dark Knight?
I've always been a fan of Batman, ever since I watched the first film with Jack Nicholson portraying the Joker, and I thought revisiting a new vision of the Joker. It's okay, you can come down if you want. But anyways, yeah, I thought it was a great new revision of the Joker. A lot more cynical. He definitely wasn't as playful as Jack Nicholson's, but he was just. It was great because obviously
he had a sense of mystery. With the Joker, you didn't know what the guy was going to do. And
with the Joker in this film, he was definitely in of how Christopher Nolan wanted to portray him in his series. He wanted to portray every villain as if they were actually believable, real characters, living in our world. And I thought he did a very good job in doing that. Where yes, at times there were very serious, moments, which was great. And there was a lot of drama, a lot of turmoil, especially the Joker getting under Batman's skin. The idea of him trying to make him choose between either save Gotham's White Knight or his love, Rachel. And there were just so many dramatic moments.
Yeah, and a lot of people really said that about that movie. I mean, it really makes you question our own humanity as you're watching it. And there's a lot of scenes in the movie where, the prisoner with the bomb, You think he wanted to explore everybody, but it turns out he wanted to save everybody. And
exactly.
and I think that brings up the thing again of, this film's about us questioning our humanity, how we live things, and sometimes we get too comfortable with things that we don't think about, like what's more important to me, my family or my friends, or these people all on board who I could kill with the press of a button.
And the idea that, like Tom was saying, like the last scene with the inmates in the one boat and then the citizens in the other boat, the idea that some citizens like, well, they made their choice. Why do we have to die because, of their foolishness? But it was just the idea that, it just came down to the good old roots of humanity, like where, they decide, no, we can't kill them, they can't kill us. And the idea of, they were able to get past that, and Joker's like, well, wait a second. They can't beat me in my own game, So, but it was great. Yeah, it was a wonderful film. It was definitely easily the best in the trilogy. Granted, all three films were wonderful. They were great. They were awesome. But I would say easily The Dark Knight was the best in the trilogy.
And then my favorite film of the year was Iron Man. I thought it was excellent. I remember walking out of the theater completely blown away by it, even though I loved The Dark Knight that year also. For me, Iron Man, it represents great acting, great storyline, great action scenes. Kind of like what my friend brought up at the time, it really almost felt revolutionary with its technology. And I mean, it just, John Favreau's vision was just so much fun. And it's just one of those films where, kind of like what Gene Siskel said about the Back to the Future trilogy, if I could sign a contract to make sure that every film was this fun, I would sign it. Because, I mean, this film really represents what this art form is about. And I really feel that Iron Man is definitely the film that will forever be kind of the film that's close to my heart as far as what great films are. And Josh, you had The Dark Knight as your favorite film in 2008.
Yes,
Can you explain that?
I also like Iron Man, but Dark Knight was really compelling, and I liked the Joker. I really did like the Joker and how he said like things that made you believe that he was actually going to do it. Like, why so serious? And then they would just go all over the place. It was fun. It was a good film. Great film.
And guys, when we return for part 4, we are going to talk about our favorite films in 2009.